Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB and today's the 19th of October 2022 and surprisingly, some of the DeFi protocols have been doing ridiculously good. Now the global cryptocurrency market is still below the $950 billion mark. But the top 3 performers since the last 24 hours is to do with DeFi protocols, so I really am not sure what is going on. Now the global cryptocurrency market is still ridiculously low. Now, the massive news that I'd like to talk about is about Do Kwon. And Do Kwon, the founder of Terra, has an interview with Laura Shin, and the podcast is called Unchained Podcast. Now, listen, guys, Laura Shin is, if not one of the best podcasters in the cryptocurrency space. I might say that she might be in the top 3 podcasters from the cryptocurrency space of all time. So, we'll be exploring what that interview was all about. And if you're one of the persons who has lost the funds in Terra Luna, you definitely need to check it out. And the next thing that I'd like to talk about is the censorship king, Jack Dorsey. And one of his protocols is planning to build a decentralized social networks. So how ironic is that? And we'll also be talking about Ethereum, which has another upgrade called as Shanghai. And regarding India, we have some positive news. And this is to do with Metaverse, and it is to do with a retail giant called as Flipkart. So we'll be exploring that in today's episode, but we won't go into details because on the Metaverse Everything podcast, I will definitely try to explore the news regarding Metaverse in detail. And regarding UAE, guys, I have 2 news, and both the news has to do with Blockchain DXB. Now, every month I do have a session on Bitcoin Beginner's Guide, Ethereum Beginner's Guide, and quite a lot more. But in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Bitcoin Beginner's Guide. The new series kickstarts from the 3rd of November till the 17th of November. And the second news is about central bank digital currencies. Guys, listen, there is a lot of hype, a lot of news, a lot of drama regarding central bank digital currencies. So on the 17th of November, I'm going to be talking about the basics of central bank digital currencies or CBDCs, the threats to freedom and its role in the Metaverse. So in today's episode, I'm going to be explaining what the details are in the session. So welcome everyone, it's Atim, you're in Dubai and you're listening to Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how the series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well. News that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other 2 news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East and the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And this is followed by Asking Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. And every Fridays, guys, I do have an episode called Metaverse Everything. And there is so much of fluff and so much of news going on in and around Metaverse. So please check out those episodes as well. And the format for Metaverse Everything podcast is completely different. And what I tend to do is I also tend to publish a daily and weekly report via my LinkedIn profile. So please follow me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is in the show notes below. Now before we kickstart today's episode, I have an important message, so check this out. Firstly guys, Startup OI is global one tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called Rise in the Obstacle Course Race. And Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gov Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform and search for Rise in the Obstacle Course Race podcast. Next, Vertex Events have organized the first ever blockchain summit in the history of the World Expo on 10th to 11th of October 2021 at Dubai Expo 2022. Now they are planning to organize a 2 days blockchain summit in 2022 on the 14th and 15th of October at Grand Hyatt Dubai UAE. And Blockchain Dubai Summit is one of the most innovative and interactive summits in the Middle East. Industry leaders from the world of blockchain, digital assets will gather to discuss advantages of blockchain, crypto, DeFi, NFT and Metaverse, a brilliant event to network with leading personalities in the space. There are a couple of packages and opportunities for sponsorship, so click on the link below to know everything about Vertex Events, and the website is vertexgroups.ae, or also drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet, and this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France, and Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers two hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below. Now guys, since we've taken care of that, as of today, 19th of October, the global crypto market is down to $926.56 billion. The global crypto market is definitely not looking good, and I really am not sure what's going to happen with the midterm election taking place less than a month. And since the last 24 hours, it is down by 0.96%. The total crypto market volume over the last 24 hours is once again ridiculously low and down to $54.27 billion. Now, since the last 24 hours, it is up by 7.48%. Now, we're going to be talking about the volume in DeFi, and surprisingly today, guys, DeFi protocols such as Aave, Uniswap, and Curve DAO tokens has been doing ridiculously good. As a matter of fact, they are the top 3 performers since the last 24 hours. Now, the DeFi volume is at $3.63 billion, and the total value locked is $53.37 billion, and MakerDAO still accounts for a majority of the chunk with 14.60%, and $7.79 billion has been locked in the DeFi protocol, and the DeFi market cap is at $44.01 billion. If you look at the matrix such as the DeFi to ETH ratio and the DeFi dominance, it is exactly the same. So really I'm not sure what is going on and what is the reason why the protocol prices of DeFi is on an uptrend. Now the DeFi to ETH ratio is 28% and the DeFi dominance is 4.6%. It pretty much mirrors the same information of yesterday, but since the last 24 hours, Aave is up by 5.06%, Uniswap is up by 2.71%, and Curve DAO token is up by 1.55%. Now listen guys, if you are a DeFi expert, I'd really like to hear from you guys why it has gone up. Now there is a news going on in Polygon, and that is to do with ZK rollups. Is that the reason why the DeFi protocols have gone up? I really am not sure. If you do have any feedback or comments or suggestions, mention them in the comments below. Now DeFi accounts for 6.68% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. The volume of stablecoins is once again ridiculously low to $50.34 billion. And out of that $50.34 billion, Tether USDT accounts for $39.44 billion, and USDC's volume has been going down and it is currently at $2.99 billion. And in yesterday's episode, we discussed some drama between Circle's USDC and Binance's Binance USD. And Binance's BUSD's volume is almost double of that of USDC. As a matter of fact, it is little over double the volume of Circle's USDC, and as of 19th of October, it is at $7.37 billion, and stablecoin accounts for 92.75% of the total crypto market 24-hour volume. Now listen guys, if you are someone from Dubai or in UAE, mention in the comments below what stable coins do you tend to use. Is it Tether USDT, or is it Circle USDC, or is it Binance USD? Now lately, a trend which I've been observing only in Dubai is a lot of my clients are using Binance USD. Now a few months ago, as a matter of fact few years ago, it was all about Tether USDT. But around 6 months ago, I do know a lot of firms in Dubai did switch from Tether USDT to Circle's USDC, but looks like the trend is lately to switch to Binance USD. Now let's look at the market share, 24-hour trading volume, and dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now Ethereum's market share has been on a decline ever since the Ethereum merge, and as of today it is $159 billion, whereas Bitcoin's market share is $369 billion. It just might touch the $370 billion mark. The 24-hour trading volume of Bitcoin and Ethereum is $30.4 billion and $10.37 billion. The dominance of Bitcoin has gone down, and it is currently at 39.90%, whereas Ethereum's dominance is 17.20%. If you look at the smart contract platform, the numbers are pretty much the same. If you look at the top 5 smart contracting platform, Ethereum is at $159 billion, Binance BNB has gone down by $1 billion, and as of today, 19th of October, it is at $43.95 billion, Cardano is at $12.30 billion, and Solana has taken a massive hit, and as of today, it is down to $10.73 billion, whereas Polkadot is at $7.12 billion. Now guys, let's look at the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. Now the global cryptocurrency market is looking red and not ideal, especially with the weekend coming up pretty soon. I really am not sure what the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum will be towards the weekend. As of today, the price of Bitcoin is $19,295, and since the last 24 hours it is down by 1.06%, and since the last 7 days it is up by 1.23%. Ethereum is currently at $1,305, and since the last 24 hours it is down by 1.77%, and since the last 7 days it is up by 1.71%. Binance Coin is remaining steady at $272, and since the last 24 hours it is down by 0.64%, and since the last 7 days it is up by 0.23%. Now guys, the massive news that is going on in the cryptocurrency world is an interview of Do Kwon with Laura Shin. And 2 weeks ago, I did mention in one of the podcasts where Do Kwon did actually tweet to Laura Shin, and he did ask her if she was keen in doing the podcast, and all this information is available via Twitter. And surprisingly, there were less than 20 people who liked that particular tweet, but they have gone ahead and done that podcast, and the podcast is an absolutely intense and critical interview, and I do think there was none other than Laura Shin who could have done that. And Laura Shin is, if not one of the OGs in the cryptocurrency space, and she also is a journalist. Now in that episode, they were discussing some crucial and important details. Now she did try to ask the location, but he did not give his location, and this location is still not known, and he did mention why he does not want to give his location. In that podcast, they did discuss details about the charges against him, and what was really surprising but not shocking to know is that Do Kwon apparently hasn't received the official filings from the government. The only information that he has seen regarding the government going after him is only through mainstream media. So at this point of time, I'm not surprised that mainstream media is trying to add a lot of fake news, a lot of different narrative regarding Do Kwon and Terra Luna. And Laura Shin did say that if he received a PDF stating that there is a case against him, and he did say that he did receive a PDF, but the filings seem to be incorrect. So I really am not sure what the charges are against at this case. And that's one of the reasons, guys, I always say it's so critical to look at information from first source. Mainstream media, even in the cryptocurrency space, such as CoinDesk, Cointelegraph, Bitcoin magazines, they often provide fake news, incorrect information, and misleading information. Now, in this particular podcast, they had some really critical questions, and Laura Shin, I must admit, she did ask him a couple of challenging questions in terms of, the funding which was available to Do Kwon, and was he aware about it? And he did try to dodge the question, but she went back and asked him directly, "You're trying to dodge this question. why don't you answer that question? And she was extremely polite and professional at the same time as well. Listen, guys, I definitely think you need to go out and listen to the entire podcast. It is over 1 hour and 27 minutes long, a useful and very critical interview. And one thing which was surprising to me in that particular interview was she did ask Do Kwon what he would like to say to the victims of Terra Luna, people who have lost a lot of money, people who have lost millions of dollars, and people who have committed suicide. Now, he did say that he is sorry and he does take full responsibility for that. Now, listen, guys, legally, I'm not sure how his response would be treated. I've been watching a lot of Netflix documentaries and I've watched loads of court cases and dramas. And one of the reasons I was a bit shocked when he actually said that he's sorry for everything that has happened, because and if someone says sorry, it does give an indication of admission of guilt. I really am not sure what the outcome of this interview will be for Do Kwon. At this point of time, I really am not sure. I'm just hoping that everyone is in a win-win solution. But that all being said, I do think that you guys should definitely go and listen to the entire interview. And she did ask some strong questions regarding allegations of potential fraud and non-transparent business practices and quite a lot more. And she did say that there were a couple of funds which was hidden, but it was available in plain sight as well. So really challenging and interesting questions. Now guys, let's talk about the next news, and this is by censorship king Jack Dorsey. Now Jack Dorsey was the former CEO of Twitter, and he's currently the CEO of Square, and he's also currently working in a project called as Blue Sky. Now he did tweet way back in 2019, I believe, where he did plan on having a censorship resistant or a decentralized social media protocol. I really am not sure if Jack Dorsey is the person to be talking about that. So the protocol that plans to have a decentralized social network is called as AT protocol, that is A for Alpha, T for Tango. So the news is censorship king Jack Dorsey, former CEO of Twitter and current CEO of Square, is building a decentralized protocol that limits corporate and governmental influence on social media platforms. How ironic is that? Jack Dorsey also formed Blue Sky. I'm not sure what the color has anything to do with his left-leaning political alignment, but if you go to Blue Sky's Twitter account, it did say that Blue Sky is building a social protocol, and what that tweet reads is, we released ADX, the X stands for experiment, in May. Now that the design is starting to solidify, we are renaming it to the Authenticated Transport Protocol, or AT protocol. Now the only good thing I can think of is the code seems to be open source, so on my LinkedIn profile you'll get the link for GitHub as well. And the details of the projects called as AT protocol can be found via the official blog. Now they're focusing on 4 things, that is account portability, algorithmic choice, interoperation and performance. Now to be honest, with Jack Dorsey being involved in this and the name is Blue Sky, I'm really skeptical if there is any future for it. And guys, so far as US election is concerned and politics is concerned, Kanye West, he has also purchased a social media platform called as Parler. And Elon Musk is in all talks about Twitter, and Donald Trump, the greatest president that US ever had, he also has a social media platform called as Social Truth. So I'm hoping that politics and social media and blockchain technology does not get combined in some way or the other. And surprisingly, Jack Dorsey is actually saying that he wants to build a decentralized protocol that limits corporate and governmental influence on social media. Is extremely ironic, because he is considered as the censorship king so far as political speech is concerned. So he's extremely left-wing leading, so really I'm not sure what the future of Blue Sky protocol will be. Now guys, enough of talk about left-leaning social media censorship king Jack Dorsey. Let's talk about Ethereum. Since the Ethereum merge, guys, the market share of Ethereum has gone down by well over 34%, especially in comparison to Bitcoin. It is on a downtrend. Now, what I tend to do is at Blockchain DXB's Crypto and Coffee Date podcast, Monday to Thursdays, I do talk about the market share, 24-hour trading volume, and the dominance between Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum has been on a downtrend ever since the Ethereum merge happened. Now there is a new upgrade to Ethereum, and that is called as the Shanghai upgrade. And the Shanghai network's upgrade specification can be found via GitHub as well. I would really urge you guys to go ahead and read through the official documents. And Cointelegraph's article does actually explain what the Shanghai upgrade is. So essentially, staked Ethereum withdrawals and lower gas fees are among the developments expected with the upgrade. And the article also talks about another proposal called as EIP 4895, that is Ethereum Improvement Proposal 4895, which will allow staked Ethereum and earn reward withdrawals via the beacon chain. In order to ensure network stability, validators with staked Ethereum currently cannot withdraw funds directly, so a lot of changes are currently happening in Ethereum. And if you look at Ethereum at a macro level, I do think it is turning out to be an ultrasound money. Now guys, let's talk about news from India, and this project is by Flipkart, and the Metaverse project is called as Flipverse, and the Indian e-commerce company Flipkart plans to allow customers to purchase items in the Metaverse, and it has partnered with eDAO, which is essentially a Polygon incubated firm. And what they want to do is they want to launch Metaverse offering via Flipverse, and the offering is currently still in its pilot stage, and it's aimed to garner interest during the festival season this particular month. Now in India, there are loads of festivals towards the last quarter of this year, and the app will go live on the 24th of October, that is on Monday. And the Flipkart, and they partnered with quite a lot of brands in India, that is PUMA, Noise, NIVEA, Talkies, Campus, VIP, Ajmal Perfumes, and HIMALAYA, and quite a lot more. And Flipkart is one of the retail giants. I believe they are backed by Walmart as well, so having their partnership is absolutely massive. Now guys, let's talk about two news regarding UAE. But before we move on to two crypto and blockchain news regarding UAE, I have two news regarding obstacle course race in UAE. The first news is about Spartan Race, and they have a massive event in December, the World Championship, and this is the second time they have the World Championship event in Abu Dhabi. And guys, I have a standalone episode with Spartan Race founder Joe Cena talking about Spartan Race NFT. And Sean, who's the Chief Technology Officer, was also in the podcast, and Calvin, who's one of the OGs in the NFT space, was at the podcast as well. So we discussed from a business point of view, why did Spartan Race decide to go ahead and launch its NFT, what were the challenges, and quite a lot more. So please check out those episodes. It is a standalone episode talking more about NFTs and not so much regarding obstacle course race. And the second message is also about obstacle course race and my favorite one, that is Tough Mudder. And listen guys, I'm on a mission to do my 100th Tough Mudder, so check both the messages now. The first message is from Spartan. Now Spartan is a global fitness brand with 10 million strong community. They create transformational events, experiences, products and content to help people, companies and team tear down boundaries and expand what they believe to be possible. From day one, nearly 2 decades ago, they've been champions of human transformation, and they live to help people get outside, eat healthy and develop habits that lead to a life of constant progress. With families of brands, they push people from every corner of the globe outside the comfort zone and immerse them in a world of tough fitness and elite sports. Now they do this because you can face and overcome adversity head on and your potential is limitless. Now this year in December, in Abu Dhabi, the land of Gazelle, thousands of athletes and spectators will gather at the metropolis in the desert to compete for Spartan immortality. This is a unique opportunity to watch the world's best obstacle course race athletes compete for world championship and have your group conquer the course themselves. The massive event takes place from the 2nd till the 4th of December this year. Now for Spartan World Championship, the ticket details and registration to the programs are mentioned in the links below. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, and if you are in UAE, you definitely need to check this out. And the second news, guys, is about Tough Mudder. Now listen guys, there are 3 things that I'm extremely passionate about. All 3 of them have some kind of similarity. That is heavy metal, Bitcoin and obstacle course race. Now we've looked at the premier obstacle course race event, that is Spartan Race, which is taking place between the 2nd and 4th of December. But the next one that I'd like to discuss is Tough Mudder. Now Tough Mudder is unique, and I did my very first obstacle course race, that was Tough Mudder. And Tough Mudder obstacles are more fun, more adventurous, and it involves a lot of teamwork. Now the team is putting up an exclusive event in partnership with Abu Dhabi Sports Council, and this event takes place at a unique location at the border of Dubai and Abu Dhabi called as Guntoot. The event takes place on the 23rd of this month, which is less than 2 weeks from now. It's going to be great. It's only 5 kilometers of running with 13 obstacles, and some of the obstacles are really unique and fun. So go to YouTube and just type in Blockness Monster or type in Electroshock Therapy or Pyramid 2.0. You would understand what I'm talking about. So listen guys, do one thing. Click on the link below. Sign up for your very first Tough Mudder event, and you can also use my promo code, which is George25, for a 25% discount. Now if you are into running, if you are into adventure, if you are into obstacle course race, you definitely need to sign up for this event. So go to the website toughmudderarabia.com, and you can also follow them on Instagram. The Instagram handle is toughmudderarabia. Now guys, since we've taken care of that, let's look at the first news, that is Bitcoin Beginner's Guide. And guys, every month I do a session on Bitcoin Beginner's Guide, and this is done purely as an initiative to train, educate and consult the people of Dubai on Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and it's purely done in line with Dubai blockchain strategy. Now guys, the Bitcoin Beginner's Guide is essentially a 3-part series, and rather than doing it on a Fridays, this time it's going to be different, and I'm going to be doing it every Thursdays. So the first session takes place on the 3rd of November at 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. The second one takes place on the 10th of November from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time, and the final session is on the 17th of November from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. So let me quickly explain what are the details in the Bitcoin Beginner's Guide. Now listen guys, if you do want to attend this session, these sessions are completely free of cost. You can go to eventbrite.com and just search for Blockchain DXB, or you can also go to my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com, and look out for more information, or guys, just drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. And from the month of November onwards, I'm going to be recording the entire video session as well, and I'll try to upload the recorded version via Spotify and YouTube as well. Now, if you do want to attend only the audio version, you can still do that via Podbean, or I'll also try to go live via Twitter as well. Now in today's episode, let me quickly explain what are the details on the 3rd of November, 10th of November and 17th of November. Now on the 3rd of November guys, I'm going to be talking about the history of Bitcoin. We'll be discussing the projects before Bitcoin and what are the problems that existed before Bitcoin. Now there were a couple of projects that existed before Bitcoin that tried to solve the whole monetary problem and wanted to be a movement towards separation of money and the state, but they had a problem. So Bitcoin essentially solved the double spend problem. So we'll be exploring what the double spend problem is, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, why he matters and why he does not, and we'll be looking at how Bitcoin blockchain works. So I'll be explaining what goes into a block and what goes into a chain. But listen guys, this explanation will be at a very basic and beginner level. You do not need any technical expertise at all. I'm going to be explaining as though you're a 5-year-old. On the session on the 10th of November, I'm going to be talking about Byzantine fault tolerance, also called as BFT. We'll be looking at the Bitcoin white paper. And one thing guys, which I often try to bring up in my podcast, is the second line of Bitcoin white paper. And it's so critical that we truly understand the second line of white paper. But in the session on the 10th of November, we'll just have a general discussion on the Bitcoin white paper. We will look at what is private key, what is public key, and we'll explore what is SHA-256, that is Secure Hashing Algorithm 256. But once again guys, you don't need to understand the technical elements. I'll explain it at a very basic beginner level. We'll also look at what Satoshi Nakamoto did when he invented Bitcoin. So essentially he compiled hashing algorithm, mathematics and cryptography, and we'll be exploring how Bitcoin mining works, the halving of Bitcoin, and the mining difficulty target will be explained. Now there's a little bit of drama going on in the Bitcoin community regarding the Bitcoin mining difficulty, because recently what happened was that the Bitcoin mining difficulty got adjusted, and just few days ago there were blocks that could not be produced for well over 85 minutes. So I'll be exploring what that drama was all about. And on the final session, that is on the 17th of November, we will be looking at Bitcoin's market share. We'll be exploring the different forks of Bitcoin, that is Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, quite a lot more. And we'll be discussing one of my favorite topics, that is the basics of Lightning Network. We'll also be looking at Liquid Network and quite a lot more. We'll also explore the different types of Bitcoin. You have Bitcoin Gold, you have wrapped Bitcoin, and quite a lot other things. We'll also be looking at the wallets and the different types of wallet. And one of my important topics, and something which I think every individual needs to understand in the cryptocurrency space, is the pillars of Bitcoin and open blockchain. And this is popularized by the guru of Bitcoin, that is Andreas Antonopoulos. So I'm essentially be talking what he talks about, the pillars of open blockchain. We'll also be exploring the difference between open blockchain versus private blockchain. And I will also show you how to buy, sell, and hodl Bitcoin, but I will be giving absolutely no investment advice. And finally, we'll also discuss the current and the future state of Bitcoin. Now, the second news that I'd like to talk about is central bank digital currencies. And look, guys, central bank digital currencies is the talk in the cryptocurrency space, in the blockchain space, and also in the metaverse industry as well. So we'll be exploring each and every detail about central bank digital currencies. So the topic about central bank digital currency is the basics, threats to freedom, and its role in the metaverse. And the session takes place on the 3rd of November from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. Now, this particular session is essentially broken down into two parts. Now, what you can do, guys, in the meantime, you can also go to my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com, and under the section that says blockchain, scroll down at the bottom of the page. You will see a section that talks about central bank digital currencies. You're more than welcome to download that page as well. And this particular session is broken down into two parts, that is part A and part B. Now in part A, I'm going to be talking about what is central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. And there are currently over 180 countries working in CBDCs. We'll discuss the history of CBDCs, how the central bank digital currencies actually work, the current state of CBDCs, and the different countries that are currently studying and have gone live on CBDCs. And what I'll also discuss is El Salvador's move in adopting Bitcoin. Did it have an impact on International Monetary Fund or IMF stance on CBDC? And since this podcast is a UAE-based podcast, I'm also going to be exploring when will UAE launch its central bank digital currencies. So those are the topics in part A. And in part B, I'll be discussing CBDCs versus Bitcoin. Now listen, guys, I did mention in one of my podcasts a few days ago that via LinkedIn, I do see quite a lot of people posting good things about central bank digital currencies, and they are thinking that CBDCs are another version of Bitcoin and open blockchain, and they truly don't understand that CBDCs are kind of the antithesis and opposite of Bitcoin. So I'm going to be giving a very informative explanation and distinction between central bank digital currencies versus Bitcoin, and we'll be exploring why central bank digital currencies could be a threat to freedom and the political implications, especially in US or other parts of the world, if CBDC is implemented. We'll also be discussing the support and resistance to central bank digital currencies. And in my podcast, I often talk about how left-leaning politicians and left-leaning individuals are generally in favor for central bank digital currencies. And these individuals are the ones who are completely against Bitcoin, freedom of speech, open blockchain, and it's exactly opposite. The right-wing politicians or right-wing individuals are opposed to central bank digital currencies, and they are in favor of Bitcoin, freedom of speech, and open source. And Nigel Farage is one of the leaders of the entire Brexit movement, and the former member of the European Parliament was one of the speakers at the Bitcoin Amsterdam event, and he literally talked about the same thing, that individuals who do not understand Bitcoin and open blockchain are flocking towards central bank digital currencies without truly understanding what central bank digital currencies are. So it's so critical to understand what central bank digital currencies are. But that being said, guys, currently there are also certain countries like Norway. What they are planning to do is they're planning to implement the central bank digital currencies on an open blockchain like Ethereum. There's Central Bank of Australia who's also planning to do that. A game changer, what I think would be if a central bank digital currencies does have its code completely open source, and if they were to implement zero knowledge proof, I do think that will be an absolute game changer. And guys, in the second part, we'll also be discussing China's role in central bank digital currencies, and we'll be exploring the different types of CBDCs, that is wholesale CBDC, retail CBDC, multiple CBDCs, and quite a lot more. Now, central bank digital currencies do solve banking the unbanked problem, and what I think is in the metaverse industries, central bank digital currencies will be an ideal form of payment in comparison to cryptocurrencies, and this is keeping in line the whole blockchain trilemma problem. So those were the two events that I'll be conducting in the month of November, and both of these sessions, guys, are completely free of cost. If you do have any feedback or suggestions or want to be a speaker at this event, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. So that's all for today, guys, on the Crypto and Coffee update from Blockchain DXB. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com and check out my website www.blockchaindxb.com and check out my other website area2071.com that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Now for the next few minutes is going to be an Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. So let's kick start with the Ask Me Anything series. Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And remember guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 am to 8:30 am, we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And how this series of episodes on the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi and Metaverse. And this is followed by the Ask Me Anything series that you're listening to right now, where you listeners can ask any questions from the cryptocurrency world. I have a question by Richa who asks, can you explain what is interoperability? Now let me try to give you an example of something that we use in our day-to-day life. I'm pretty much sure that a lot of people do use the app called as WhatsApp. Now let me try to explain how WhatsApp could be interoperable. Now imagine in the WhatsApp app, you are able to connect to Instagram and you're able to connect to Facebook as well. So imagine a user from Facebook can speak to you directly on WhatsApp. That is called interoperability. Or let's say someone from Instagram is able to talk to you, share photographs, and do quite a lot of other things. That is one example of interoperability. Now, because all of these three protocols are owned by Facebook or Meta, it is kind of easier to have interoperability. But let's take another instance. Let's say the same app, WhatsApp, you're able to have connections or can do chatting or share videos, let's say with an app which is not connected to Facebook or Meta. Let's take Tinder for instance, or LinkedIn for instance. Imagine having the ability to do everything on WhatsApp, like sharing videos, audios, video calling with LinkedIn or Tinder. That is one area of interoperability. Now there are different layers of interoperability as well. In the cryptocurrency and blockchain protocol, I'm sure that by now we know what Ethereum is, what Solana is, what Bitcoin protocol is. So when you talk about interoperability, at a blockchain protocol level or cryptocurrency platform, the ability to do transactions between different protocol levels, that is Ethereum, Solana, Algorithmic, and quite a lot more. So essentially what we're doing is we're making a blockchain of blockchain. So for instance, let's say if I have Ethereum and if I want to transact with someone who has Solana, I'll be able to do that as well, having the same security and taking into consideration the entire blockchain trilemma problem as well. Currently, this is done by bridging protocols, and we have seen some notorious hacks so far as bridging protocol is concerned. And over time, I do think that the bridging protocol that connects Ethereum to Solana to Algorand and other blockchain protocols does get extremely secure. Now, at the Metaverse level, when you talk about interoperability, think of having, let's say, an NFT in a decentralized protocol, and you are able to use that in another Metaverse platform, like let's say Sandbox or Charmy World Inc. or the protocol that Meta or Facebook is trying to build. So the whole idea is you're able to use your application across different devices. More importantly, you'll be able to have the same rights as well. Now, the brilliant use case I can think of so far as interoperability is concerned is the gaming industry. So let's say you've purchased a couple of games in the Decentralized platform. Now, you're not restricted only to Decentralized, but you can utilize that in Sandbox. You can maybe utilize that in Facebook or Metaverse that they're building. So that is an area of interoperability. Now, to be honest, Richard, this isn't a massive problem to solve. Solving interoperability is easy, but you need to understand the whole blockchain trilemma problem. You need to solve that without compromising on scalability, without compromising on decentralization, or distributed as I like to call it, and without compromising on security. Now, at this point of time, I do think that Bitcoin's Lightning Network is an area that could be interoperable across different blockchain and cryptocurrency protocols. And I do think that Lightning Network, Richard, will play a massive role so far as medium of exchange and payment is concerned across different protocols in the Metaverse industry. So I do think that Lightning Network could be a leader and give a head start so far as interoperability is concerned in the Metaverse. So that's all for today, guys, on the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case if you have any feedback or suggestions, please drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com and check out my website, that is www.blockchaindxb.com. And guys, check out my other website, that is area2071.com, that talks everything about Metaverse. And if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating, and share the word across. And remember, guys, Monday to Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., we have Crypto and Coffee at 8, where we cover top news and information pertaining to Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And how this series of episodes in the Crypto and Coffee at 8 works is, we usually cover some top news and information pertaining to the price of cryptocurrencies, some major breaking news, occasionally short and sweet news as well, news that has an impact in the cryptocurrency world. The other two news and information is related to Dubai, UAE, and Middle East in the world of Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And this is followed by Ask Me Anything series that you're listening to right now, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice one ahead. Bye-bye.